America. I'm Eric Erickson. These are the four things you need to know this afternoon of June 18th, 2025. The four stories you need to know before heading home tonight, each one with my conservative take, cutting through the noise, giving you the facts the mainstream media doesn't want to give you. Let's dive right in. Up first, the Fed hits pause for now. The Federal Reserve has decided to keep interest rates steady yet again, holding the federal fund rate in the 4.25 to 4.5 range. Now, if you're like me, you've probably noticed every time the Fed meets, the talking heads on TV act like it's the Super Bowl. Let's be honest, the decision's more about what they didn't do than what they did do and why. Jerome Powell and the Fed are trying to thread a needle. Inflation has cooled from its peak, but it's still running hotter than most Americans would like. The Federal Reserve's own projections now suggest we may see 2 rate cuts this year, down from 3 they first hinted at. Why? Because the economy, while slowing, is still stubbornly strong in some sectors, and prices aren't dropping as fast as they'd hoped. Now, let's talk about what it means for you and me. If you're a saver, you're probably enjoying higher yields on your savings accounts, your CDs. If you're a borrower, like looking for a house, refinancing your mortgage, buying a car, these rates are keeping things expensive. The average American family is feeling the squeeze, not just at the gas pump or the grocery store, where prices have come down to a degree, but in monthly payments on everything from cars to credit cards. Now, here's what the media is not telling you. The real reason the Fed is stuck is because Washington can't control its spending. We have a debt and deficit problem that no one in Congress seems willing to tackle. The Fed can only do so much with interest rates when Congress keeps running up the national credit card. And every time the Fed hints at a cut, markets rally. Wall Street loves cheap money, after all. But Main Street pays the price in higher prices and less purchasing power if rates don't come down. Let's not forget the uncertainty of the job market is starting to bubble up too. Businesses are in a holding pattern, not wanting to lay off workers, but also not hiring aggressively. The tariffs make them nervous. If unemployment ticks up, the pressure will mount for the Fed to act. But their hands are tied by inflation and government overspending. The bottom line is the Fed's pause is a warning sign. If Congress doesn't get serious about spending, we're going to be stuck in a high-rate environment for a long time. The American worker will pay the price, and Jerome Powell today is worried about stagflation. Up next, Social Security and Medicare. We're near the funding cliff. We need to talk about something that should be front-page news every day. According to new reports, Social Security and Medicare, both programs are on track to hit insolvency within the next decade unless Congress acts. Here's reality. Social Security and Medicare are the backbone of retirement security for millions of Americans. But the trust funds that support these programs are being drained faster than they're being replenished. Why? Because we've got more retirees than ever, people are living longer, and the ratio of workers to beneficiaries keeps shrinking. Now, politicians on both sides of the aisle love to promise they'll protect Social Security and Medicare. But protecting these programs means making tough choices no one in Washington wants to make. We're talking about raising the retirement age, adjusting benefits, or heaven forbid, actually cutting spending elsewhere to shore up the trust funds. The left's answer is always the same: raise taxes on the rich. But we've tried that, and it's not enough to solve the problem. The math simply doesn't add up. You could confiscate every dollar from every billionaire in America, and you still wouldn't fix the long-term shortfall. What's worse, the uncertainty around these programs is already affecting America's retirement planning. People are worried the benefits they paid in for decades might not be there when they need them most. That's not just a policy failure, that's a moral failure. If Congress doesn't act, we're looking at automatic benefits cuts for Social Security and Medicare recipients. That means seniors who rely on the programs could see their monthly checks slashed, and access to health care could become even more limited. My conservative solution, very simple: we need to reform these programs now, not later. That means gradually raising the retirement age, means testing benefits for wealthiest recipients, and finding real savings in the federal budget. Kicking the can down the road is not an option. Up next, the third story. The FDA has just approved a new HIV prevention drug called Linacapavir. Now, Linacapavir is an interesting drug because it's actually a twice yearly injection that's shown to be highly effective in preventing HIV infection in high-risk populations. Medical innovation is something America does better than anyone else. The new drug is a game changer for people at high risk of HIV, especially those who struggle with daily pills or other prevention methods. It's a testament to what our pharmaceutical industry can achieve when government gets out of the way and lets the private sector innovate. But there is a catch. As with so many new drugs, the question is how much it'll cost, who will pay for it, and whether insurance, including government programs like Medicaid and Medicare, will cover it. We've seen this before. A breakthrough drug comes to the market, but the price tag puts it out of reach for many who need it the most. And there's a broader issue here, too. The left often wants to demonize big pharma. Some on the right do, too, for making a profit. But without the profit motive, we wouldn't have these kinds of medical breakthroughs. At the same time, there's a role for transparency and competition to keep prices in check. We need a system that rewards innovation but doesn't bankrupt patients or taxpayers. The approval of Linacapavir is good news for public health, but it's also a reminder that real solutions come from innovation, not government mandates. Let's keep encouraging the private sector to do what it does best while holding them accountable to make sure lifestyle drugs are available, life-saving drugs are available for those who need them most. At the same time, we do need to be honest. Without lifestyle changes, we're not going to get rid of HIV and AIDS. And making drugs that reduce the risk of getting them combine to disincentivize the lifestyle changes necessary to prevent HIV. We've gone from worries about HIV to monkeypox due to lifestyle behaviors that become increasingly common when people don't think they can get HIV. Developing medicines to stop these diseases is great, but lifestyle changes have to be talked about to actually prevent the spread of HIV, and too many people don't want to do that. Finally, we need to talk about international politics and what's happening in Iran. Russia is sending a stern warning to the United States not to help Israel. Russia has signed a strategic partnership with Iran, and Iran is being resupplied by the Chinese. The Iranians are providing drones to Moscow to use in Ukraine. Russia claims Israel risks destabilizing the Middle East. Likewise, Russia claims U.S. involvement could risk nuclear fallout. Now, they're masking this under the guise of environmental fallout from Israel destroying Iran's nuclear facilities. But the subtle suggestion is Russian involvement with Iran if the United States allows its bunker busters to be used by Israel. Meanwhile, President Trump says he'll make up his mind later this week on American involvement. Israel says it has plans to destroy the underground Fordo nuclear operation with or without American help. And skeptics are using Russia's threats to say we shouldn't be involved. But we've seen when Americans get involved behind the scenes, like in Ukraine, the Russians don't stand a chance against us. So there you have it. 4 things you need to know this afternoon. The Fed rate pause is a warning sign, not a victory lap. Social Security and Medicare are headed for a cliff, and Congress does need to act sooner rather than later. Medical innovation is delivering new hope in the fight against HIV, but access and affordability remain key challenges, as do lifestyle behavior changes. Russia is testing America's resolve, and the world is watching how we respond. The president says he'll make up his mind shortly. As always, I'll cut through the spin, bring you the facts that matter. Those are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. I'm Eric Erickson. Tune in tomorrow during the show, 12 to 3 Eastern Time, for more news, analysis, and common sense conservatism. As always, subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel at EW Erickson, or just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Stay informed, stay engaged, and as always, please keep the faith.